Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you my part 2 of my March wrap-up. If you watched my March wrap-up video, you'll know that I said when I filmed it, I hope this doesn't mess me up for the rest of the month. And lo and behold, it did. I read 3 other books this month after that point. But I'm going to be quickly talking about 5 books here during this wrap-up. So the first book I'm going to talk about is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I actually just did a singular review of this particular book, which I will link down below, which kind of goes into more detail about what I liked about the book, what was the story involved, and all those things. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just basically say this was a 4.5 star read for me. I really loved it, and I'm really hoping that Alyssa Cole does more thrillers, because the way that she was able to keep the tension built throughout the entire book was phenomenal. So then the next book I read was Think of England by K.G. Charles. This is a historical male-male story that is actually one of my favorite historical romances. It basically follows Archie Curtis, who is an injured war vet, as he goes to this house party, which is at this family's like summer estate. And that's where he ends up meeting Daniel da Silva, who is a poet who is there also who is also invited as one of the guests. And while they get off to not a great start, they realize very quickly that they are both there for nefarious purposes, and both of them are sort of investigating their hosts to see what potential blackmail is happening in this house and their surrounding friends. It's sort of, I describe this as sort of the himbo in the brain, which is Curtis is so sweet, but he is also so dumb, and I love him for that. Honestly, it's a very sweet romance. I actually really also love the plot that's included in there with the sort of blackmail ring and them trying to solve this mystery while, you know, maintaining their covers and not necessarily being found out, and then just everything kind of playing out the way that it does. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it is, like I said, one of my favorite historical romances. There is obviously some trigger warnings for a bit of racism and a bit of homophobia. I just thought this was really cute and very fun. And then I ended up reading another book by K.G. Charles, which is Wanted, which is another historical male-male story. So this one follows Theo, who is a sort of matrimonial advertiser, where he basically gets letters from people who then advertise what they're looking for in a partner or what they bring to the table and try to make matches in that way. And he is contacted by Martin, who is our other protagonist, who needs Theo's help trying to track down one of the women who's been writing in and exchanging secret correspondence with another man, because this young woman just ran away and eloped, and Martin has been tasked to bring her back home. Theo is willing to help Martin because Martin offers him a lot of money to help, and Theo is in desperate need of money. Martin is a wealthy merchant, and he is doing this as a favor to people that he has known in his life. I should note here that Martin is a black man in Victorian London, and he was a slave growing up and was freed, and so that is a strong theme throughout the book of Martin kind of going on this journey through northern England and being, you know, kind of the only black man that they're seeing, and the kind of racism that he's facing, and Theo is very much front and center to witness it. And they do have some conversations about how Martin feels about his former masters and kind of the way that he feels now as sort of his own man and like what he wants in life. I just really loved Martin. He was incredibly charming, and he's just so sweet. I really liked him, and I actually really ended up liking the relationship that him and Theo build, in the sense of, again, they kind of go together on this journey, and while they're on this journey they start having these like kind of deeper conversations and end up developing these feelings. And at the end you have this line of Theo telling Martin that he wishes that he was the man that Martin thought that he was. It's this idea of Theo wanting to be better because of Martin, you know, and that's one of my favorite tropes. I really liked it. I thought it was really sweet. I'm very much one for historical romance that deals a lot more with the romance aspect of it and the sort of falling in love, and I feel like this one did it very well. Especially since there's a little bit of fun with Theo also moonlights as a gothic romance writer, which is super funny. because he loves romance, but he doesn't believe in it for himself, which I always find funny as well. Both of those two books I ended up giving 5 stars to, just because I loved the characters so much and I really enjoyed the stories that they were wrapped up, that they were involved in, as well as their sort of romance story as well. Loved it. This was a very heavy romance end of the month for me, because I also read Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. Like kind of Get a Life, Chloe Brown, this was a reread for me because I want to read the Eve Brown book, the third in this Brown Sisters series, in April. So I thought, you know what, I should reread them because I really, really liked them. They were very, very fun, and my opinion still stands for this book. It's incredibly fun. I really love both Dani and Zaf. I think Talia Hibbert does such a good job in this book in particular of really showcasing each of their strengths as people and like why they're good partners for each other, as well as kind of what they're working on their own and how kind of having a partner is helping them in that way. I really think the buildup of their romance is incredibly well done. It doesn't feel too rushed, it doesn't feel too quick. It feels kind of like less of it falling into place and more of the, oh yeah, like I do kind of feel those feelings kind of revelation. What am I talking about? I don't know. And so again, I really loved this book. I gave it 5 stars the first time, and I gave it 5 stars again the second time. Right now, this is my favorite of the two, so I'm curious as to where Eve Brown falls in there. So the last book is House of Leaves by Mark C. Danielewski. I haven't finished it. I am down to like the last 100 or so pages, but I thought I would just include it in here because I honestly don't even know how to talk about what this book would be, so I really don't know. So this book, House of Leaves, is basically about a book called The Navidson Record, which is about a documentary. I think it's also called The Navidson Record, that's about this house on Ash Tree Lane, which has an anomaly where it is sort of bigger on the inside. And the sort of family that's living there is documenting their descent into exploring this house and trying to figure out what this means, what it entails, what is hidden in this labyrinth that's in this house, and how it affects all of their different mental states and the tragedy that basically befalls this family. On top of that, within the book, The Navidson Record, that's written by a man named Zapano, who dies at the beginning of the book, and his manuscript is found by a man named Johnny Truant, who is working on the manuscript to finish it for him while leaving notes in the footnotes of his own life and what he's experiencing as he's working on this book. This is a wild ride. I honestly don't know if I could say that I would recommend it, but I can say I actually really am enjoying it, which is wild to think about because I hated it the first time I tried to read it. So I took a postmodern literature course when I was in college, 10 years ago now, and I hated that course. I really truly did. It was a lot of men are writing. We're not gonna get into it. It just, you could tell that we were reading a lot of men that semester. That's all I'm gonna say. But I tried to read this one and I absolutely hated the narrator, Johnny Truant. He is very much, again, Talia was written by a man. That's all I'm gonna say. And I wasn't really invested. I didn't really care about Johnny, and for the first couple chapters that's kind of what you're caring about to get into the story. And so I never even really got into the whole house is bigger on the inside investigation because I already quit by that point. So reading it again, I was very concerned that I was going to have the same feelings and not end up finishing it. So what I did is I read it very slowly, where I would read like one chapter at a time and then take a break, which is why I'm still finishing it now. But I actually got really into it like at chapter 7, and so I was very invested in this house on Ash Tree Lane and what was going on. And so it's good and I'm enjoying it, but again, I do not think I could recommend this for everyone. I just, enter at your own risk, prepare to go slowly, and be warned that there's not really a plot, but also like multiple plots. It's weird. It's weird. I'm liking it. Hopefully the last couple chapters don't disappoint, but I thought I would include it here because I honestly don't know how I would describe this novel any other way than what I just did. Let me know in the comments below what you read for this month. Have you read any of these books ever? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Planning to steer clear of any? I won't judge you if you steer clear of House of Leaves. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.